DeSantis now for Montreal at midfield. Tries to square the ball for Ibrier, but couldn't. Nachita has a look and then decides to play it back to his keeper, Dino Perry. Well, certainly after coming off their game Wednesday night, the man on the left, Pierre Mindru, was a happier coach than Jerry Gray on the right. His side had won 3-0, and I think it's fair to say, with all respect to the Steelers, that the Supra were expected to put up a better performance in this game than they have so far, Graham.
Yes, they were expected to put up a better performance, but of course you have to take into consideration how the opposition play. And Hamilton, just as Montreal did last week, have not allowed the Supra to play it. Supra didn't let Hamilton play in Montreal.
Bunbury. Bunbury couldn't make the cross. And now it's Rudy Dulascat who is down and holding his left shoulder, Graham.
Well, the teams don't want to lose players now, knowing that they're going to go into overtime. Missed time tackle. Rudy Dulascat doesn't like it, but he's handed his share out. I don't think it was the tackle that hurt him so much as the way he fell on the ground.
The 23-year-old provincial MVP, Rudy Dulascat, in his second CSL season. Otmane Briere chips it, far post, headed away by Tony Nachita. DeSantis for Dulascat. Sarane tries to get around, does, cleared across the top of the box as he got the outside step on Paul Fennick.
Well, I've heard of hard and low, but if somebody had stuck their head in front of that, they might have got it taken off. I mean, there is a limit to how hard and how low you can hit it.
DeSantis comes wide right again for Dulascat. Sarane.
Bunbury at the far post.
He's calling for it, but then he rattles it off the back of Steve Morris and right to Perry.
No excuse for that when you've got that amount of time. If you cannot get the ball to the far post where Alec Bunbury is standing, then really give it to somebody who can.
Perry rolls it out for Tony Nachita. As now the game is slowed down to a bit of a walk. 11 and a half minutes remaining. 3-0 Hamilton. You get the feeling these teams might be conserving some energy for the mini game to follow.
Can you blame them in this heat? They got 30 minutes to go. I think the last part of this game will be played at a walking pace. No way Montreal can get back into this game and tie it as they need to do. And Hamilton really don't need any more goals, so they're just going to push it around.
Jerry Gray chips it through, has John Kerr. Can't control, and DeSantis. Little give and go with Tasu Katsukos, Otmane Briere. Cameron Walker at midfield. Come wide right, Sarane. Needham is on his right. Ibrier makes a run through the middle. Bunbury is wide left. They'll go back for Walker. Ibrier. Bunbury, top of the box. Needham joins him there. Ibrier. Walker. Pushes it wide right for Sarani. He tried to chip it back for Needham, who tried to sneak in behind Steve Morris. Jason Gibbons for Lucio Ianiero on the right wing, and he's offside. The flag from Mr. Ian Harris. 3-0 Hamilton leading Montreal. Coming up later today at Esther Shiner Stadium, game 2 of the other CSL quarterfinal, Nova Scotia in a must-win situation as they play the Rockets in North York. North York winning 4-0 last Wednesday at Beasley Field in Dartmouth.
Well, the Nova Scotia Clippers don't lack confidence because their player coach Gordon Hill is up in the broadcast booth with us. trying to scout out who he may play in the next round. Now, that's confidence after losing the first game 4-0.
Davor Chepo will go all the way back for Dino Perry. I almost want to say, let's stop, boys. Let's take 5 minutes and let's play the minigame.
I think the players would settle for that. They know they're just playing out the 90 minutes. Nobody's going to risk getting injured. The quicker the clock goes, the better for these players. They've got a tough half an hour ahead of them. And if they're tired, of course, after half an hour, then it goes to penalty kicks.
John Kerr will go wide right for Jerry Gray. He wanted to take it one step at a time, and he's made the first giant step, Jerry Gray. His Steelers on their way to winning this game in regulation, leading 3-0, and Jerry Gray still has a little left as he cuts it into the box and finally over the end line, keeper's ball. The wind continuing to gust here, and in fact is picked up as this afternoon continues.
There you get a look at Gordon Hill on the right of your picture, and Drew Ferguson from the Kitchener Kickers, also scouting out opposition for next year.
And their position is right next to ours, so we have some immediate criticism if you.
They're up in the booth there in So they were just on camera? Oh, fuck, the rain's falling.
Well, you said a storm might come, Vic. The rain is starting to fall, and in this temperature, there could well be a storm.
Nachita.
One thing, if it rains, Pierre Mandrew will be okay. He said his raincoat
That's
on all
right,
game.
he came prepared. But the wind has really picked up, and the sky darkening to the west of Hamilton. Flores. And there you see the clouds to the west of Brian Tibbas. Ivor Wynne Stadium tucked in behind. Dark clouds have been hanging over Ivor Wynne throughout the CFL season. Last night, another loss in front of a very small crowd of just over 10,000. The tackle on the far side, Tasso Kutsukos guilty of the foul, and as he just walks away.
Well, this is what we said the players were going to guard against, and when you do guard against them, normally you get an injury. Tasso Kutsukos kicking right into the back of the legs of Mario Videa, and Videa still on the ground.
And the referee is saying for him to get off the field. He'll play on. The Molson CSL playoffs on TSN. The Hamilton Steelers, in a must-win situation here in Game 2 of this quarterfinal, are some 5 minutes away from forcing a 30-minute mini-game. Needham heads it into the area. Bunbury out jumps the punch of Dino Perry and puts it over the bar.
Well, the Hamilton Steelers are playing with 10 men at the moment. Mario Videa down at the far side, and they get a nasty knock to Davor Chepo as he goes up to challenge along with Perry, Bunbury. Down goes Chepo, and he's still on the ground too. Bunbury very good in the air, all arms and elbows, so tough to mark. And the coaches do not want to see any of the players down injured right now, knowing they've got very important half an hour of extra time to go.
And Davor Chepo down in the edge of the 6-yard box. Tony Nachita how to give him a little bit of a sprinkle, and even Luigi Molino. They'll play 30 minutes of extra time as soon as this 90 minutes is over. And now Pierre Mindru with a few words for Pierre-Richard Thomas, who get it ready for as a substitute. And looks like he just might wait until the start of the 30 minutes.
One thing to remember, that if a player goes off in regulation time, he cannot come on in the extra time. He's finished with the game. So I wouldn't want to use any substitutes before the end of this game if I was Pierre Mindru, because I might need them in the half-hour extra time. Once a player goes off in regulation time, he's finished for the day. He cannot come on again and take penalty kicks, even if there were a shootout. Penalty kicks can only be taken by the people on the field when the extra time finishes.
Into the stands on the far side. Just a matter of time now till we go to the 30-minute mini game to decide this quarterfinal between Hamilton and Montreal. Montreal winning 3-0 at home on Wednesday. And the Hamilton Steelers with 2 goals by Jason Gibbons at 52 and 68 minutes. And then Lucio Ianiero at 73 has the Steelers on their way now to the mini game. And Grant Needham is being escorted to the bench by trainer Diana Perez. And there's some player that you don't want to miss. And in fact, Needham now will head to the locker room.
Well, that really is a bad blow for Pierre Mindru. Young striker. Injured his ankle a couple of weeks ago and obviously has taken another knock on it. So to go into extra time without your #1 goal scorer, that's a big loss.
Under 2 minutes to play. Hamilton leading 3-0.
And if I was Mr. Luigi Molino, I would just blow the whistle now. If this was ice hockey, you'd get a 2-minute penalty for delay a game, but that doesn't happen in soccer, so we got to live it out and play it out.
Videla for Steve Morris. Can they make it 4? Yes! What a beautiful goal by Steve Morris, the All-American from Syracuse.
Well, it doesn't make much difference to the game, but it does give Steve Morris a little bit of confidence. Great run, beautiful finish from a very difficult angle. Dino Perry at the other end, absolutely delighted. Good run by Morris, good first touch. Not a bad second touch either as he finds the far corner. First touch is so important. He took that ball past Harrington with a first touch, knocked it into the net with a second. Good run, good finish. You don't want to waste them all now, though, guys. Save one for extra time.
And the substitution has been made as well, Graham. Pierre-Richard Thomas has come in wearing number 17 for Montreal. The former Quebec Soccer League All-Star scored one of the goals in the Supra win on Wednesday, and he replaces Grant Needham up front. And there is the whistle from Mr. Luigi Molino. And full credit to the Hamilton Steelers. They had to do what they had to do, and that was win one step at a time, said Jerry Gray, and they take a convincing step, 4-0.
Very impressive second half by the Steelers as the Montreal Supra just died. If the Montreal Supra can't pick up their game in this half-hour extra time, then the Steelers will continue their success towards the final.
Coming up, the 30-minute mini game. And who knows, maybe the dreaded shootout. The Molson CSL playoffs on TSN. We're going to a 30-minute mini game to decide this quarterfinal between Montreal and Hamilton, and the Steelers getting some last words from Steeler head coach Jerry Gray. What do you tell players at this point in time?
Well, I'm sure Jerry Gray is going to say, look, we won that game 4-0. Don't let's get complacent, because the next goal is going to be the important one. Just let's play the way we've been playing. Nothing fancy. Just back each other up and let's all work hard. It's a very tough time, this extra time, because you've got to dig down deeply. Now, what Pierre Mindreau says to the Montreal Supra is another thing, because they really have to change their style and change their game.
The Steelers exploding for 4 goals to win the game that they had to win. Jason Gibbons, the 18-year-old, opened the scoring, Graham, at 52 minutes.
Well, it was a short free kick taken by Gray to Lucio Ianiero. Catches the Supra standing, watching the ball. Doloscat clears, knocked back in by Morris. Little flick by Jason Gibbons, finds the net. That opened the scoring for the Steelers. Gibbons would then add another one before this goal. Morris crosses, Ianiero nips in front of Doloscat. Great header, 3-0. Little Lucio with a superb timing header. Hamilton Steelers were in fine form now and just on time. Beautiful ball is knocked through just on the edge of the box. Steve Morris gets to it first, rounds Harrington with a first touch, ducks it into the far corner with a second touch. That made the score 4-0 at the final whistle, and Steve Morris smiling. He loved that goal. Well done, Steve. Great finish.
And so the win by Hamilton forces the teams on to the mini game, as Pat Harrington continues to stay loose in his goal.
And once again, referee Luigi Melino will call the captains to midfield, and they will toss, see whether they'll want to play one way or whether they'll take the ball. They have the option. They just don't get the choice whether they want to play one way or the other. If you want, you can start off by taking the ball, then the other team gets to pick which way they will play. So we're back to square one. It's a whole new ball game, 0-0, and it's not sudden death. If one team scores, they keep going till the end of the half hour, 15 minutes each way.
Mario, okay.
Victor Ashby.
You did your job, you did more. Hey, if you feel bad, just give me the signal, because you can't do more. Okay, Jeff?
Victor Ashby saying to Jeff Unger, you've done very well. If you do feel that you cannot continue, let us know. We need a fit player on there. We don't want you hobbling around just for the sake of being on the field.
So the Hamilton Steelers look to have won the coin toss, and they've elected to maintain the same half that they finished with. Luigi Molino checks his watch, his little black book, and we're ready. It'll be interesting to see, though, how Montreal fare without Grant Needham up front. They'll now have Bunbury and Cameron Walker as their front runners. It can be won here in 30 minutes, or they can go to a shootout. We are now less than 30 minutes away. Morris on the right wing. For Nachita. Fennick to midfield. John Kerr makes the run, so does Gibbons. He has Gibbons out of the edge of the box. Doloscat to mark him over the end line, and it'll go as a quick Hamilton corner. Jason Gibbons with 2 goals at 52 and 68 minutes. His first and second goals of the playoffs after he scored 3 during the regular season. Jerry Gray cuts it in, still loose. Jeff Onger tried to hook it back and couldn't. And now Jeff Onger is guilty of the foul as he pushed and tugged on Rudy Doloscat.
Dulescat, about 10 minutes before time, went down just on the edge of the Steelers' box, injured his shoulder, and he looks very much as if he's in a great deal of pain, but he's a tough big fella, and he's going to play on.
And now it's clouded over here in Hamilton at Brian Timmis, and the rain has begun to fall to begin this mini game. Cameron Walker, Chepo to Marquette. Cameron Walker wide right, gets it across, looking for Bunbury, and Bunbury over the bar. He seemed to be forgotten, Graham. He was wide open.
Well, it was a nice cross by Cameron Walker, but Bunbury, when he breaks wide here, just doesn't get out far enough. Is stuck underneath the ball, really can get no direction on it.
Alec Bunbury, who is playing against, of course, his former teammates. Gibbons, Jerry Gray. Tried to slide it through for Morris and couldn't. Sarane, as the Supra now forced to work into a driving gale force kind of rain. Ian Hierro gets away from Cameron Walker and then is brought down as Walker left a foot in, and out comes the yellow card for Cameron Walker.
Well, it's been a very colourful game. We've had about 5 yellow cards so far. Once again, a tackle from behind not only brings the whistle, but brings the yellow card. This time it's Cameron Walker who goes into Mr. Luigi Molino's book. Well, we've said so many times in this telecast that if you come in from behind, you're going to get the free kick given against you. Not only was it from behind, it was just a little late as well. But I think it looked worse than it actually was.
Nick DeSantis at midfield. Tasso Kutsukos making a run from his sweeper spot. Will follow up wide right. Bunbury, Walker calling for it, far post, and then by them both and into touch on the far side. The Supra looking to get a quick break, and that's where Hamilton felt that they were beaten the other night, is on the counter-attack, and with Kutsukos moving up, something he didn't do throughout the first game in regulation.
Well, Victor, you should take a job as a weather forecaster. You said in the first half that a storm may come. It looks as if it's coming and going. It starts, then it stops, and it starts.
Yeah, if you're wise enough to bring an umbrella, well, you're the smart one here in Hamilton, as Harrington puts it into play to midfield. Cameron Walker looking for some kind of call for Mr. Molino. Thought he was bumped and grinded a little bit. Oh, it's hooked over the bar by John Kerr, as it just seemed to keep bouncing right for him.
Right, but not quite right enough, as it wouldn't sit down. He kept having a chance to volley it, but wasn't able to make good contact. Look at this, very tough for Kutsukos to get in there and make a challenge, because he doesn't want to bring him down in the box, and Kerr eventually saw it go over the goal line before he was able to make contact. Very tough with that wind blowing straight down the field in Hamilton's favor.
To midfield for Bunbury, and then he and Nachita, and the foul is on Bunbury, and he pleads his case but doesn't win it with Mr. Molino. Davor Chepo for Nachita. 5 minutes gone in this first half, 30-minute minigame. Jeff Onger. John Kerr overlapping for Steve Morris. Got it through. Here's Kerr, far post, looking for Onger. Here's Gibbons. Can he make it three? Finally cleared away by Dulascat.
Dulascat in a great deal of pain, as you can quite clearly see the rain come pouring down.
Oh my. These aren't just drops. These are mini buckets now. Sarane to midfield. Steve Morris for Hamilton. Gets away from Cam Walker. Slides it through for Ian Yero. Cleared away by Diot. For Steve Morris, Sarane can't win the ball for Montreal. And now it is Dulascat who, with that appears to be possibly a separated shoulder, gets it through for Walker, and out comes Dino Perry.
And Jerry Gray not at all satisfied with his defense's play on that move. Great run by Dulascat, and just centimeters away from being a perfect ball knocked through the middle.
Bunbury has Pierre Richard Thomas, top of the box. This is Cameron Walker. Oh, he laid it back. Here's DeSantis, and way over the bar. 7.5 remaining in this first 15-minute half. The mini game.
And as the rain pours down, we seem to have half the crowd here in the broadcast booth now, so make it a little noisy, folks. Bear with us.
It's the driest place to be.
It's the only dry place to be.
I don't think that Afghan is going to keep that man very dry. Chepo. Head for Videla. Cleared away, play on, says Mr. Molino. Jerry Gray doesn't want to go home to Tacoma just yet. John Kerr. The tackle from Patrick Diot, and into touch.
And Patrick Diot wins the throw-in, much to the disgust of John Kerr.
Oh my, this is now a gale. And John Kerr still not happy with the call from Mr. Molino. But it is Supra ball for Cam Walker, who hooks it into midfield. Jeff Onger. And offside called on Lucio Ianiero by Mr. Ian Harris.
And it's tough to see Mr. Ian Harris away on the far touchline with this sleet.
DeSantis slides it through. Cameron Walker. Jerry Gray broke it up. Now it's Tasso Kutsukos. Played it in and over the head of Alec Bunbury. And I tell you what you can notice right away is the humidity is broken, and it's much cooler already.
I'm not surprised. Although we laughed at Pierre Mandrew, who was sitting in the first half with his raincoat on, he's having the last laugh as far as that's concerned. And if his Montreal Supra can come back and win this mini game, he'll have the last laugh there again. But so far, they're not really threatening Dino Perry in the Hamilton goal.
To this right wing and into touch as it skipped away. Actually blew away from Cam Walker. Chepo with the throw in for Steve Morris, who'll go wide right for Paul Fennick. Ian Yero. Flores to mark him. Kutsukos nods it away. And the Supra at a tremendous disadvantage right now, Graham, in this first half of the mini game, because they have to play right in to the wind and rain.
Tough to keep your eyes open when the rain is lashing down like that. And Pat Harrington perhaps with the worst job, because he's facing right into it. Wind being blown right into it.
4.5 minutes remaining. In this first 15-minute half.
Oh, look at the ball come all the way back. And again, it just stops still.
And then it runs away on Davor Chepo, and it'll be a throw-in for the Supra. go without saying that you'd think the Steelers would want to take advantage of having this end of the field right now as Chepo loses his footing, and then the ball squirts across to Tasso Kutsukos at midfield. Pierre-Richard Thomas is on the left. That's where they go. And the foul is on the Steelers, and it'll be a free kick for Montreal.
Well, let's see if Leonidas Flores tries one. He's tried about 4 in our last 2 telecasts and has not been close.
Flores is there. Otmany Brier. Cam Walker moves up now to have a word with Flores. Pierre-Richard Thomas. Alex Bunbury edge of the box. Walker over the ball. Flores tried to chip it through and couldn't. Again, missing the opportunity. Brier slides it through. He has Thomas. Wide left. Walker, Bunbury are all in the area, and finally Nachita gets there to nod it away. Walker gets up. Brier tried the one-time volley and rattled it off of Jerry Gray. Two and a half minutes remaining in this first 15-minute overtime period, and it continues to rain even harder now at Brian Timmis. And the attempt by Pierre-Richard Thomas wasn't even close.
He did well to get that ball to the goal against this wind, let alone get it on target.
It's as if it were a mid-summer downpour, but considering the kind of summer we've had, very dry in the southern Ontario area, we're getting all the rain at once here on this Sunday afternoon.
Beautiful day for a game, just like a normal Saturday afternoon in Aberdeen. Perfect. Forwards love this. Defenders slip all over the place. Forwards love it.
In the area, Sarani can't get away.
Goal
and it
kick.
will go as
Goal kick.
the Steelers thought it was a corner, but Mr. Molino points right at Pat Harrington. As you can see, the rain on the lens of our camera right behind Pat Harrington. This is what happened last year. The Steelers beat the Montreal Supra when they met in the playoffs. Davor Chepo called for the foul at midfield on Alec Bunbury. Tasso Kutsukos. Under 2 minutes now in this first half of the minigame. Then they'll change ends and they'll play 15 more minutes. DeSantis. Sarani makes a run wide right, and there he is. Sarani with Morris giving chase. Sarani keeps it in play, gets it across looking for Walker, and it's headed away by Tony Nachita. Otmany Brier hooks it back. Nick DeSantis, Bunbury calling for it wide left, and he couldn't get the ball there. Videla ahead for John Kerr. Harrington is out, and it'll squirt into touch on this near side as Harrington took a dangerous run.
Good play by Pat Harrington, but Tasso Kutsukos just about had it ram off his chin back into the net. What an own goal that would have been.
There's the whistle from Mr. Molino to end the first 15 minutes of this mini game. No chances to speak of, really a case of survival considering the weather. But now it turns around, and Montreal, Graham, will have the wind at their back.
And I think they must be satisfied with that first 15 minutes because they were down and out losing the game 4-0, came back and really had most of the ball in that first period of overtime.
Mr. Molino calling for the players right now. He wants to keep this game going.
You can't restart the game till the goalkeepers get back there, and they're being rather clever and strolling all the way down the field.
We've got 15 more minutes to go.